And Juice, you guys know from yesterday. D Ford was limited today with his knee. And then you guys saw the new one with McGlinchey. McGlinchey's is getting his knee scoped. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So.
Did that happen on is that an injury that occurred during the game?
Yes, yeah. It happened in 2 plays. I think it started on one and then got worse on another.
With such an integral piece of your running game and Kyle Juszczyk missing now, how do you address someone to fill that kind of gap? Obviously, with his blocking techniques and his pass catching ability too, like he's such an integral part of your offense, especially in the running game. So how do you fill that gap?
I mean, you don't replace Kyle. You know, he's kind of one of a kind at fullback. So you do. I mean, we still use a fullback, and you do that with tight ends also. I mean, you motion them there and do stuff, but no one's going to fully replace them. You just got to do some different things and adjust.
What's the plan for replacing McGlinchey?
I mean, we didn't sign any. Oh, McGlinchey. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Kyle. Brunskill will be up, next guy up. So we got him and Sam Young on the roster. So we got those guys left. So we'll get him out there and going. Brunskill's got in a little bit, a couple plays here in the last 2 weeks. So at least he's gone in there a little bit. Had a real good preseason. So I know we'll go in and do a good job.
Brunskill at right tackle and School at that left.
Yes.
Are you guys feeling any more urgency now to maybe make a trade?
I mean, you always feel the same. Things got to be available without being held ransom. I mean, you got to be able to make smart decisions. And if there was a smart decision out there, we would definitely look into it. We look into it all, but it doesn't seem like many are available right now.
John has said something similar. Is Trent Williams really not available? I mean, have teams been sort of stonewalled when they've inquired about him?
Not allowed to talk about that, right? Yeah, I mean, from what I think we hear the same thing you guys are hearing. Doesn't look like there's much movement there.
What's there to know about Brunskill? Like, what kind of player is he? How do you feel about him stepping in?
I feel very similar to how I do about School. You know, he's a guy he got to play in the AAF this year. That's where we, Adam and the guys upstairs found him. I didn't know much about him until he got here in OTAs and training camp, and got to see him then, and I became a believer in him. He was number 61 for a while for me, and then he became Brunskill because he was low on the radar as it started out, but he earned his spot on this team. He did a real good job. And that's why he was on the team. That's why he wasn't on practice squad. And when he got in there for one play versus Pittsburgh and did a hell of a job. Got to play a little bit 2 nights ago versus Cleveland, and very similar to School in that the game's not too big for him. He's very efficient. He's a smart player. He'll get the job done, and he'll be ready for the challenge on 3rd down.
How integral had Juszczyk been to the success of your run game the first 4 weeks?
He's very critical. I mean, he's a big part of that. He's just as important as those running backs are.
Now, with Richard Sherman's experience, can he play an enhanced role for you guys, particularly against a team with 3 great receivers? Is he an extension of the coaching staff in some respects?
Yes. I think anytime you have very good players who've been playing for a while, it's because they're definitely very talented, but it's also because of what's upstairs. I mean, they know a lot of football. They've seen a lot of football. They're smart. They know pass patterns. Their recollection of plays they've been beat on is very well, and I think Sherm's at the top of that aspect of that part of the game.
There was a report that you guys worked at 7 fullbacks. Did that happen yesterday, and do you have any plans to sign any of them?
No. No plans to sign any. We looked at them. You got to be. We're one down for 4 to 6 weeks. You got to see, and we don't have one, but tight ends can do that stuff too, just like a lot of teams do. He's not designated a fullback only, but you got to do that in case you have other injuries.
Well, he talked a lot about that. The fullbacks or the tight ends play that fullback position effectively.
Yeah.
Do you expect to see him slot in that role a lot?
Yes. I mean, he'd be the next man up. I mean, that's something we use Kittle on too, though. I mean, it's not necessarily all the exact same, but I mean, that's what most teams do. I mean, not many teams have a fullback on their roster, but you motion a tight end back there and he's a fullback. So we'll do that, or motion one of our receivers back there to play fullback.
You guys had Earl Mitchell flop back there a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Are there any defensive tackles that you might do that with?
Sheldon was ready for our goal line package and stuff, and he's always a backup fullback for us in case need be.
What's going to be the
He might have a hard time with the pass routes, but he can do the goal line stuff. He says he can do the pass routes. I believe. Sorry.
What's going to be the key to maintaining your success on the ground without Kyle Juszczyk the next few weeks?
Kyle's definitely one of our best players, but it takes all the guys. We've been playing very physical, I think, in these 4 games. We can't lose that at all, no matter who's been out there. Guys have brought on every play, no matter who's run the ball. They try to get more yards than what's blocked for, and it starts with the effort of the whole team. And when you have effort, usually good things happen. It's not always going to be clean and stuff. And the more you can get the ball, the better you can do on third down. The more we can stay with the run as a team and calling the game, the more you'll get those stats. But everything goes into that.
Have to make a lot of schematic adjustments, or do you feel like it's going to be a pretty seamless transition?
Yeah, of course. When you lose real good players, you're both your tackles and your fullback. You always got to make adjustments, but you're not going to reinvent the wheel either. You got to go out and play football and just try your hardest to put them in a position that gives them the best chance to be successful.
What did you see? McGlinchey hadn't missed a game, I don't think, ever in his football career before this. How difficult was it to tell him, or how much pushback did you get from him, and did he try to play through it?
Yes. I think that's why I wasn't quite as worried about it when I talked to you guys Monday night. He didn't take himself out. He was limping a little bit, which he does a lot in games because those guys they're linemen, and that does happen. And as long as there's no bad damage, they're usually all right. But he kept up with it, so I remember seeing him doing it. I took him out personally, just telling him he didn't want to go out, but because he didn't think he was that hurt. He didn't feel like he was that much after the game, but the energy goes down a little bit. How amped up you are. He came in the next morning, was hurt a little bit more, and when they checked it out, it was a surprise to him and a surprise to all of us.
How has he played this year to this point?
Mike's done a good job. He's had some more challenges than he had last year, but Mike's done a good job. He had a tough matchup versus Pittsburgh, where he missed a couple, which you guys documented. But no, Mike's done a real good job. He's one of the main reasons we're running the ball so well.
Will you have to make any move on the 53-man, because you already have on the 46-man the guy who would move up? So do you feel the need to do anything?
Not right now. We in order to do it, because no one's gone on IR, we'd have to cut someone, and we haven't done that yet, and I don't see us doing that this week.
What do you see on the tape from special teams, especially with the long snapper? It seems like a couple of problems there on Monday.
On the field, I thought it seemed like there were a few more. Just after getting in and watching the tape, I thought that there was definitely one snap that he could have done better on, but I thought it was only one snap.
Kyle, this is a short week for you, and meanwhile, Sean McVay and Wade Phillips and their staff have extra days to prepare. Do you go into this game feeling like you're at a strategic disadvantage?
It is what it is. We always want more days, not just for coaches to prepare, but also for the players to rest. But that's how it was last year after Green Bay. So sometimes that can hurt yourself too, though. Sometimes you get too many days to prepare and you're a little bit rusty, you overdo it. So it works both ways, but normally you'd like more time.
Do you expect the Rams to bring extra wrinkles that they might not ordinarily because they have that extra time to prepare?
You never know. You got to be ready for everything. They're always going to have, Sean and Wade are always going to have a few wrinkles each game, but they believe in what they believe in, and they're not going to reinvent the wheel and try to stray too far away from what they do well. They got a good team. They don't have to make much stuff up. They're going to be rested coming. We're going to go in there. They're going to be ready to go, and it's going to be a good game.
I know you're not a doctor, but fair to say that it's cartilage damage that's being corrected or repaired?
Neither of us are doctors, so I'm not. He got it scoped. Scoped. I would think so. No, I think it started with one of the round that Debo had, where he bumped into him and the defender, and then I think he got rolled up about a quarter later. So it was one of those two. You could ask him, though.
Sorry, he had a PRP injection in the offseason. Is this the same knee? I guess.
I'm not sure if it's the same knee. The thing that he had in the offseason is something he's had since college. So that's a normal thing for him, something he was used to. This is a different thing.
Not connected.
Not connected, yeah. So they fell on his legs awkwardly, and it was an unfortunate injury.
Richie James seemed to have a challenging night returning. He kind of hesitated, let a couple go they probably should have caught.
Yeah.
Did you talk to him about that? What was his?
I haven't personally. I know they covered in the special teams meeting today. Yeah, they're ones. You got to catch that changes field position too much. I know there was one real tough one that was way. I don't know if it was the first one. There was one that was way too short. We didn't expect him to catch it, but the other ones he should have. ones he'd like to have back. Definitely, he's got to catch those. First left-footed punter, that's always a little bit awkward, but he's done it before. He's done it in practice when we bring those guys in. Did end up having a good punt return there at the end, but yeah, we need him to catch those.
Is it reassuring at all to know that, despite the fact that you're losing these tackles and use check, that you're going to get these guys back for basically that long stretch at the end of the season, especially with your IR guys as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, always when you get bad news, you want to turn into some good news. So I'm glad they're coming back in 4 to 6 weeks. You're always upset when you lose guys, any guy, and especially those guys. But then when at least we're not losing them for the year. So we got a decent record right now and got to keep it going. And hopefully when they come back, they're a part of something.
So he already had his knee scoped?
No, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow.
What challenges do the Rams present?
I mean, challenges all over. They're a very good team. They got a very good special teams, a very good defense, very good offense. I mean, their offense has been one of the best, if not the best, here for the last 2 years, going on the third year. They've been very good at running the ball. They're very good at throwing the ball. Their defense, they've given up some yards, some points and stuff, but they're an opportunistic defense with very good players, smart coaches, and they can create turnovers. Haven't got as much as they have in the past, but it's a matter of time. They got a very good team, and it's not a surprise why they were in the Super Bowl last year.
What's your early assessment of Nick Bosa?
What's that?
What's your early assessment of Nick Bosa? Has he been everything you'd hope he'd be?
Yeah, he's right on track. We know he got a little bit late start with the injury. He's played good in every game, though. Even though he's been limited. Last week was kind of the first time versus Cleveland that he really got to go and play a full game and more plays in just a limited role, and it was a better result. So hopefully that continues to get better. I know he got out of it healthy, and he's been what we've hoped for so far. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could see that in practice, just being able to get through the practice the whole week and not having the setbacks. Always when you have an ankle, each week just some little thing happens just here and there. And you went the whole week last week not having it. And when you see that, you just see each day get a little better and better. And they're always better on Sunday, too, or Monday.
Losing another offensive tackle sort of puts the focus back on Justin School a little bit. How has he been generally in his 2 starts, and has there been any particular part of his game that you've been impressed with?
I mean, I think he's been real good in his 2 starts. I mean, the first game, the biggest negative was just those penalties, and he cleaned all those up last week. He had a huge challenge in who he was going against. He definitely held his own. It's a huge team effort, too. When you play well as a team, you don't put those guys in as big of a predicament having to block, drop back passing every play. So when you can get the turnovers on defense, when you can run the ball well on offense, and if you can get a lead, it does help those guys out a lot. But third down's third down usually. And when you do that, you got to step it up. And, I know our first drive in the third quarter versus Cleveland, it was probably our best drive of the day. It was 8 plays, but I think 90 yards, but the third play was 3rd and 6, and School had a big block 1-on-1. We had an out route to Keese that got us the first down, and that allowed us to go the rest of the way. So if you don't make that block on 3rd down, you don't get that drive.
On that drive, it ended with a touchdown pass to Kittle, and it seemed like Myles Garrett got a nice pass rush on School, but that ball was out before he got there. I mean, is that a way that you, the play caller, can sort of adjust to not having your 2 top tackles, just faster throws?
It always helps when people are open faster. You can get rid of it before they get there. It's not always easy. But, yeah, the quicker you can get rid of the ball, the more it frustrates those guys, and that's why you try to mix it up so the defense doesn't know what's coming. But if you become one-dimensional, it's a lot harder to block those guys, and it's a lot harder to get people open.
I know you've been hard on your receivers for the last months. Is there extra emphasis on them, pressure, whatever, on them this week from you, given that you might not be able to run the ball 40 times?
No, I just expect them to do their job, whatever's needed, and they've been doing that. I know we had 2 drops yesterday, but those guys, the way they competed in the run game, the way they competed in the pass game, they kept us on the field on 3rd down. I know we had 1 3rd down that they didn't, where it got knocked out. But no, I mean, I want them to just keep getting better each week. And you go into every game hoping to run the ball like that. it rarely works out that way. So you balance both of that out, and the receivers have a huge they get a huge credit in what we've been doing in the run game. You can't run the ball as well as we've been doing if the receivers aren't blocking like that. But those guys are getting better in the pass game, and you never know what game, what quarter, but we're definitely going to have to win a game throwing the ball also at some time. All right. Thanks, guys.